This video is going to review the structure of the IDU paper to make you more familiar and confident with it. So the IDU is broken into three specific sections. The first section is disciplinary grounding, which focuses on criteria A. Disciplinary grounding has 30 marks and 15 marks are allocated for science and 15 marks are allocated for language and literature. So in that section, what you can expect to see are questions related to your scientific understanding based on the sources provided, and from the language and literature component, then you're going to be required to possibly communicate your ideas using your knowledge and understanding of some of the tasks that you may have had already in language and literature. The second section of the paper focuses on synthesis and communication. And what you have to do there for synthesis is to combine your knowledge and understanding of content, concepts, skills and procedures from science and language and literature, and then you need to communicate that understanding. Now so it's basically when you synthesize something, you kind of like see it as 1 + 1 = 3, because you're taking your knowledge and understanding of two different disciplines and you're creating a new deeper level of understanding, and in order to do that you're going to use your critical thinking and analysis skills to help you to ensure that you're able to synthesize that information correctly. Now, in terms of communicating that understanding, there are a range of tasks that could possibly appear on the exam paper in March and also in May. So the range of activities that the range of ways in which you could be asked to communicate could be a set of interview questions and then justifying those interview questions. You could be asked to do a persuasive speech or an essay, which could be argumentative, persuasive or informative. You could be asked to write a dialogue or a monologue. You could be asked to write a newspaper article, either to inform or to persuade. You could be asked to create a brochure, or you could be asked to create an exhibition. So for all these things, in terms of writing a persuasive speech, writing an essay, in terms of whether it's argumentative, persuasive or informative, writing a dialogue or a monologue, and writing a newspaper article, you basically need to be revising the procedures that you already use in language and literature and would have applied in other subjects like INS in order to communicate effectively. So it's particularly important that you refresh yourself with the procedures and the rules of how to structure an interview, of how to structure persuasive speech. How do you get that right tone? What words are you going to use to create that persuasiveness that you want your reader to get? You need to understand the techniques for argumentative, persuasive and informative essays, the principles of writing a dialogue and how that's actually structured and set out and laid out, the principles of writing a monologue and how that's structured and set out as well, the principles of how to structure and write a newspaper article, and how to produce a brochure or an exhibition. And the third task that you'll be asked to do focuses on reflection, and this is worth 30 marks. So when we reflect, it comes in three different sections. The first is that you have to choose certain experts and outline how those experts would help you to understand a certain exploration from the global context. So you get to choose from either a historian or a geographer. So in terms of connecting history with the global context of scientific and technical innovation, you could talk about how the concept of change allows us to see how we adapt, say, technologies such as weapons of war. We started off with rocks and spears and stones and stuff like that. Then we graduated up to horses and shields and armor, and then tanks and rifles and guns. And now we've created laser weapons, almost sort of Star Wars-ish type thing. So that shows that how we use our scientific and technical innovation to sort of adapt society and to change our communities. In terms of from a geographer's point of view, if you're looking at the global context of scientific and technical innovation, you could look at it in terms of the ways in which we compete for space, how we compete for land, and the impact that has, such as deforestation, that impacts our ecosystem. We know from when we get the regular haze, how that impacts our environment as well. From a mathematician point of view, you're going to be able to use your knowledge and understanding of data, statistics, to identify and analyze trends and interpret the data to inform you of perhaps a better way of doing something, because the data, the facts, the statistics support and prove it. From the option of the musician or the artist or the designer, you could really go to town on this in terms of looking at it from, say, an aesthetic point of view. How, say, a designer could design a car that is more, a green car that is more aesthetically pleasing than, say, the car that Google have created, because to be honest, it doesn't look that good. But if you look at something like, say, the Tesla, then that's something of beauty, and if it looks good, people are more likely to buy it. From a musician's point of view, you could write a song, you could hold a concert to raise awareness of the impact that humans have on the environment. You could organize, from an artist's point of view, an art exhibition, again focusing on different elements of the global context. Then what you're going to be required to do is to choose from those three experts. You're going to have to choose, say, two of them of your choice, and then create a discussion between the two about how those two experts can help you to understand a certain element of the global context. So as a discussion, you need to make sure that you make reference to both points and that it's balanced. And again, you're given some bullet points to guide you. So when you got your scratch paper, again, I recommend that you jot down these bullet points, and as you type out your answer, you tick them off so that you've actually got them there and then, so that you don't miss out on any of the points. Then the final reflection question is going to ask you, to what extent, have you been able to develop your own interdisciplinary understanding of the global context? And it's going to give you 3 bullet points for you to consider. Now, to what extent is an important command term, and it's asking you to consider the merits of an argument or a concept. In this example, it's a concept. Interdisciplinary understanding is a concept, and therefore you need to give an opinion, you need to provide conclusions, you need to give evidence, and you need to support that with sound argument as well. So the best way that you can prepare yourself for this one is to refresh yourself with the basics of the Toolman model, where you have to come up with a claim, you need some evidence to support that claim, you will need to have a rebuttal to challenge that claim so that you're able to think critically and talk about the merits, what is good, what is bad about interdisciplinary understanding of the global context, and then you need to create a conclusion.